Okay, here we're going to create an init. And I'm going to pass a country object. And we want to have also a private var ISO here, because we're going to use this in order to fetch the data about a specific country. So if I need to pass ISO, I need to bring it from somewhere. So we will put a local variable ISO here of string, and then I will say ISO is equals of my country that we are passing, the ISO. Remember, our country has an ISO and a name. So we are setting this variable, whatever the country ISO we are passing. And then we are going to have two parameters that we are going to return at published var reports. This is going to be an array of region report, by default empty array. And the second thing is published var alert item, and this is alert item question mark, maybe an optional, but right now we don't have the alert item, so I'm doing the same thing that we did with our main view model. I'm commenting it out, but we are going to come back and fix this once we create the alert item. So once we initialize a country detail view model with a country that we are passing, we set the ISO here, and then we want to have a func to fetch report. And remember our API service.shared.fetch data fetch report for, and we need to pass ISO here, and I can say that I want to pass my ISO. Result is what we will get back. And again, every time we will set our reports, it's published, which will result in updating user interface. So I need to get to main queue, dispatch queue.main.async switch on result. Give it a second to give us all the options. Click on fix. Now for our success, we are going to have let reports variable name, and then I will say self dot reports equals to reports that we have received. In case of failure, for now, print error getting country report. I will do a to do here and show alert. All right, so our alert we're going to create later on. Let's get rid of the empty lines. So our view model itself is ready, apart from obviously the alerts. So we can go back to our country detail view, and we can start using it. So at the top, I'm going to create our model, but we're not going to create the model, the view model here, but we're going to create while we transition from our main view into our country detail view. So that's why I will say at observed object. It's not a state or like we had in our main. It's observed object, and we are creating it here, initializing it. But for our what is it, content country detail view, we are not going to initialize it, but we are going to say view model is of type country detail view model. That's it. We are not initializing it. We are going to observe it. Actually, I believe that is better to do it a state object here, because we are initializing it here. Let's command B to see if everything is working. All right, it's missing here. We are going to fix that just in a second. For this, I need to go to my model and get to my country data, and we need to create some dummy data for that, so we can pass it here as well. Country static let so here I will just create some ISO not applicable and name error, and let's get to our preview here, and I will say country, and we need to it's a detail country detail view model. Initialize it with country, and then we say country dot dummy data. So this will just pass some dummy data, so our preview is happy. Let's quickly double check. Yeah, it's working fine. So we can continue setting our view. So if I jump to my ready application, you will see again we have a Z stack here with our background, and then our background will have on top we will have a text, and then another area which is stands out in a rectangle, and then all the information inside. So let's but this is not always what the case we want to show, because remember, when we have states or provinces or whatever, we want to show a list. So instead of my text here, I will have a V stack, and on top, now here is the tricky part. We want to show two things: the list first if there are more items, or if there is no, we show that report. So I will say if our view model dot reports dot count is greater than 1. So remember, when we were fetching data from our API, the countries that had, let's go to the report, and we have Bulgaria here. So the countries that have more than one item, they have like these provinces or states, while when it is one item, it's like one country data altogether. So if we have more than one item, it means we want to show the list. But if we don't have more than one item, it means it's a single report, and we would like to show it straight away in our report view. So I will say here else, and let's put a note here, show report view, and here show list of, let's say, states. All right. So for the states, it's more or less easier. We just do the list, but for report view, which is whatever you see on the screen now, we need to create a separate view that we will be able to reuse it even when we are on the lists as well. So let's do the list, and then for each, and then we want to access our view model dot reports, and I believe our reports have an ID. Yeah, so we don't have to specify that. So for each report, and we say report, this is what we are getting in. So now we have a report for each report in our reports that we have received from our API. We have access to every single report. So what we want to do is basically take a text and put report.region. Remember, we go to report. Each report has this region, and the region has the name of the province that we are interested in. So we say view model reports. Then we want to access the province. All right. And if this is not the case, then here we would show the report. But one thing we need to do here, and our links here, it should be linked so that our user can click on the name of the province and go to the data of that province. So I will use navigation link, and right now I'm going to just instead of passing something, the text, okay, and this will be inside our navigation link. I believe I need to state destination is our text. So this is we are going to modify later on, right? So if no, nothing is going to change because we didn't link them to our main view. I cannot run it now. So let's quickly set the list style to be plain like we have with the other one. And then I want to set a navigation title, and pay attention, I'm setting the navigation title on my list here and not on the VStack. And the reason is our VStack may contain a list or it may contain this view here. When we are looking at this view, we don't have to have a navigation title because we would have already a text here, and navigation title would break it. But if we have a list, we want to have a navigation title so we know which country we are looking at. For example, if I choose the Russia here, it will be Russia, or the US, it would be US on top. So that's why only our list should have a navigation title and not the VStack, right? So the title here is going to be our view model dot reports dot first, and this is question mark because it may not have the first object. Then I want to access the region, and finally I want to get a name or nil coalescence here. If it is nil, I want to say unknown country, unknown country. And finally, we want to make it always small inline because this is a secondary screen. So I will say navigation bar title display mode to be inline. Right, so this is our view so far. Now we can actually focus on the report view, which is going to be this. Australia has also, Austria will have this report view. So let's build the report view that we will be able to use it here as well as here. So I'm going to create in my views, after my search, I'm going to create a new SwiftUI file, called this report view.